to heart, soul to soul. Let's speak our minds and make it plain. I'm here for you, you're here for me. Together let's stand, it's heart to heart.
Welcome to Heart Chat Show. It is a talk show that talks about social issues, relationships, health and well-being, amongst other things. Today I have some two amazing guests on here, and we would like to talk about the impact of lockdown on marriages and relationships. My name is Adra, and here on the sofa with me I have the amazing Selassie Kujo. Now, Selassie has a passion in educating people in relationships and marriages, to help bring them some spark into their relationships. She also has a way with children, and she has been educating them and spiritually uplifting them as well. Selassie, welcome on Heart to Heart Chat Show.
Thank you, Adra.
And next to Selassie, I have the amazing Chris Decker. Chris is also equally passionate about educating people on how to enhance their relationships too. Now, Chris was part of a group called Martyrs of the Heart, and they had a lot of impact on marriage couples. Chris Decker, welcome to Heart Chat Show.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome. It's amazing to have you on this hot seat. Thank you so much. So today I just want us to talk about the impact of lockdown on relationships and marriages. Now, according to some reports, they say that the pandemic has put couples in an ultimate test of endurance. For others as well, it has brought valuable learning experiences, and it helps some couples to spend time together. As per a recently released data by a delivery firm, the demand of condoms, contraceptives, and pregnancy kits has increased during the lockdown. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of baby boom coming up very soon. But then for me, the most worrying thing is the high rates of domestic violence as well during the lockdown. So I think it's a good thing for us to talk about it, the pros and the cons, the advantages and disadvantages of the lockdown. So now, what have been some of the impacts of lockdown on marriages and relationships, Selassie?
Yeah, it's both positive and negative. This pandemic and couples being at home all the time have just heightened your relationship. Where you were, I think that your relationship was like that, but because you were able to go out, go to work, the mundane things of life, running after the children, it made it seem as if you were okay. So now that you are stuck at home with the children, those issues were there, and you were using the mundane things to really manage it. But now that you can go out, you can't take the children to school, all these things, you are stuck at home. Now, that person that you have to avoid, you are with that person all the time.
Yeah.
So that is the problem now. So issues that you could run away from, you are faced to deal with it. And you can't sweep it under the carpet. And even if you sweep it under the carpet, the same person is there in the living room, in the kitchen. Some people even are living in an apartment that they don't have gardens. It's like in a flat, a small flat. How do you manage it? So that is what has happened. And for others too, it has enriched their relationship because genuinely they loved each other. Genuinely the relationship was working, but they didn't have time to spend together. And they've seized that opportunity to enrich their relationship. Because I believe that this time we'll never have it back again. We'll never have it back. So wherever you are you just going to allow things to go that way, or you're going to take steps to make things better? Because I believe that you are in a relationship. Are you ready to leave the relationship? Yes or no? If no, what are you going to do to make it better?
Yeah.
So you cannot just be there and just be there and let things just pass you by. You take constructive steps to make things work. So this being at home have helped people both in a good way and in a bad way. But I believe that in everything you have to take steps to make things better for yourself.
Amazing. Now, Chris, as it said, the pandemic has actually put a lot of couples, in a test of endurance. What is your thoughts on that?
I think it has put a lot of people in a test, and a lot of couples in a test. And as we know, according to statistics, domestic violence has gone up by 120%.
That is a lot.
It is. So that should tell you what has been going on
Wow.
in some homes. In as much as some couples might have had some good times, if you've had the opportunity of going to the park, you see mom and dad and kid, whereas before you would see maybe only mom and kid or dad and kid because possibly mom is working and
Yeah.
dad is looking after the kid. But now you get to see a lot of mom and dad and kid, mom and dad and kid, and I think it's a good thing. It's giving people the chance for them to have a lot of quality family times. At the same time, on the flip side, there are couples who, because of cracks that they've had in their relationship,
Yeah.
this is the time that these cracks are beginning to show. So we were covering up with work or working separately. One person is working somewhere else and then get to come around during the weekend. Now we are all around. So whatever cracks that was before, the invisible cracks are now have become very visible, and some relationships are beginning to feel the heat.
Yes. So with relationships with such cracks, how can they even mend those cracks? And what could also what could also be the negative impact of that crack showing? So let's talk about the negative impact and then what they can do to actually mend those cracks.
Right. So that the cracks showing at this time is what is bringing about the domestic violence
Yeah.
and all of these things, because some relationships might have started on bad notes. So if the foundation of the relationship is weak, it is possible that as you go, you begin to experience some of these cracks.
Yes.
And because some foundations have been weak right from day one, the cracks have been there, but the relationship haven't gotten the opportunity to stand this test of time as we have now with this pandemic. Because, okay, some people are working day and night.
Yeah.
So if mom goes night, dad goes days. So in a way, you are managing the cracks. But now that dad is not going, mom is not going, everybody is in one place, the cracks, it becomes very difficult to manage because you are in each other's face 24/7. And if you don't have the friendship that should exist in every relationship or marriage for it to blossom or flourish, then you're going to be experiencing difficulties. Because what are you going to be talking about?
Yeah.
How are you going to be living together in a pandemic situation? What do you have any fun things to do? No. So then it comes to the point where when one person does the slightest thing, it can set the other person off.
Yeah.
So then people begin to quarrel, begin to fight, and sometimes it can even go physical. And that is what can bring the police into. I had a situation where I had to pick one of my colleagues up at 2 a.m.
Wow.
because his spouse was kicking him out of the house because of just a text message that was read on his phone. And that message, and I can say this because I knew the genesis of the story. I can confidently say that it was an innocent text.
Okay.
It was an innocent
Okay.
text, but the woman misconstrued the message. The message was misconstrued, and that and that brought about a whole lot. The police was called.
Wow. I think this is a topic that we'll need to explore
Yeah.
one day soon, you know, about snooping on each other's phones,
Phones
or
and-
answering or
Yeah.
checking
When it
messages.
comes to snooping, if
And-
you decide to snoop, you have to be ready.
That's the
face
thing.
whatever you
That's the
find.
thing.
Yeah.
So I think it's a whole big topic
Yeah.
on its own that we will actually need to explore. But one thing you mentioned was friendship
Yeah.
in relationship, and personally, I think that it is very key.
Very.
Because if you don't have that friendship, automatically you don't have that bond.
Yep.
And if you don't have that bond, it probably means that you guys don't gel.
Yeah.
You know, your interests are different. The setting, you know, there's a bit of a mismatch somehow. So how do you deal with, you know, something like this in this crisis?
But there is a mismatch.
Uh-huh.
You are together. You are
Yes.
not going anywhere. You are stuck at home. That is how bad the situation is.
Wow.
So that is when you have to take steps. So I would say that as spouses, both of you have hobbies that don't match.
Yes.
So I get to enjoy my hobby. You get to enjoy your hobby. Because let's say, what did I do yesterday? I spent my time reading some Shakespeare sonnets. And I
Right.
enjoy reading poems and stuff like that. My husband may not enjoy it, but after I finish enjoying that, my private moments, he also has done his private thing. We have to come up with things that we do together. And for us, we like to play Scrabble together.
Oh, that's great.
So I would not fault anybody for having that private moment for themselves. But I believe that at the end of the day, 24 hours stuck at home, there has to be a moment where you share time together. And those things, because you don't have that friendship, it will not come naturally.
Yes.
But I would say that it will look as if you are forcing it. But it's better to say that, oh, we'll have lunch together as a family, lay the table, sit down, eat. It looks like you are staging it, but it's better to take those small steps towards fixing those cracks than just to leave it. Because can you imagine, I've stayed 2 hours on my phone
Yeah.
reading. You also stay 2 hours on your phone. I could bang the food on the table. You come to the kitchen, eat it. No, it's not good enough. You have to be intentional. So today, from morning, we help the children with their schoolwork. Lunchtime, what have we done? Are we going to go into the garden? Are we going to stay on the balcony? Practical things that you can
Yeah.
do together, because you have to compromise. I don't like doing this thing, but because my spouse, I don't like watching those football. Like they were showing some football as in 1966, and
yeah.
most of the men were all over it. They were excited. I may not enjoy it, but because my spouse or my partner enjoys it, I will sit there so that we'll be able to watch it together and then try to ask a bit of a question and generate conversation. Because that excuse that, oh, we don't share the same interests. So where are you heading? If you don't do things together, where are you heading towards?
But picking on that, you know, because I have a situation that the lady was exactly what you were saying. So the man was sitting there watching his football, and the lady felt, oh, you know, let me come and sit next to him. Let's have a bit of time. But for some strange reason, whenever she asked the question, it felt like the man was irritated. He did not want her to be sitting by him. In that case, what do you do?
But that is what I'm saying, is that there are certain things that I would do on my own. That will he also do on your own. You have to come to an agreement that during the day, this is the thing that we do together as a couple.
Right.
It can be just something as basic. Some people are doing DIY. It can just be.
But why can't it be something spontaneous? So he's sitting there watching TV, and I've
What
come
I'm
to
saying
sit
is
by
that because
him.
people get irritated, that cracks is already there.
You're okay.
So if it is not planned, like both of you are on the same page and saying that we want to do this together, you coming to sit there, he'll get irritated. You are trying to create something. That's why I would say meal times, lunchtime, breakfast. You can make a big fuss over it and say, let's all sit together. Even if you don't have a dining table, you can have an indoor picnic. This is the time to get your creative juices flowing, because
Wow.
the alternative is not there to say that I am not going to do nothing. The cracks are there. You better get some cement and water and mix it together and start patching it.
I think Adwoa, to address that lady's issue,
Yes.
I think maybe she went talking too much.
Right.
You know, sometimes when you are so much into whatever you're watching. I mean, for me, I like football. I watch football, but I love watching movies.
Okay.
And when I'm watching a movie and I'm into the movie, that is not the time that I want you to come into my ear and
Oh,
Talking about
But-
the separate, it has to be related to the movie.
exactly
that-
or contribute to what is happening.
Yeah.
But don't come and take my mind off what is going on.
Oh, okay.
You get me? So then that can be a bit irritating if you are enjoying a game and you're so into it, and somebody comes and now the person wants to have a conversation about something else not related to what you're doing.
Right.
It can throw you off a bit.
Oh, okay. So what about compromise though? What about, so, okay, my wife has just come, you know, even though I'm watching TV, he still wants a bit of companion and all of
Well,
that.
there's time for everything. So even when your wife has come in, if it's a match, maybe you can make sure you welcome her and all of that. But you can come back. Then after that, maybe you can go and give the full attention. But
But by that time, she's then now upset. So coming to give that full attention,
yeah.
you know, she's like, well, the time that I wanted to spend with you or sit by you, you know, you gave me attitude. So it's that little things
You
that
see,
is
but
causing a lot
also-
of problems.
But also, it all boils down to friendship and
Okay.
communication. If you're friends with someone, I'm sure maybe if you've lived with them for 2 years, 3 years, you know you should know them by now.
Yeah.
You know who they are, what gets them upset, what they're excited about. So you know that if this person is watching football, maybe or a movie, he or she doesn't really want to disturb.
Disturbances.
And so then, I mean, you can find another time to do something together, if you don't want to be a part of whatever they are doing.
Right.
It's not good going to sort of look for quarrels in these pandemic times.
No.
It is not.
No.
You know, Chris, you're talking about friendship, but there's couples now who are not friends. They
Yes.
are not friends. They don't
Yes.
like each other.
Yeah.
So they have to start afresh.
Fresh.
There is no friendship. There is no likeness.
But for friendship to come about, then communication is key.
Yes.
They have to start talking, and talking. I mean, having honest, open conversations. Because if you don't have honest, open conversations, you can never build friendship. Friendship, true, good friendship, is always built on honesty and openness.
Yeah.
You cannot have a good friendship with somebody if you are not honest and open about the way you talk to the person. So for couples who do not have that friendship, I would say they should start talking.
This is a time for them to
Yep,
build
start
that
talking.
bond,
Start
build that
talking. You need to
relationship.
talk about. You see, interestingly, there are some people. I wouldn't just say women, but there are some people who think that, oh, this is not important.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, so why didn't you tell? Okay, so let's say, for instance, Adwa, I come to your house and your husband knows me as I'm a friend to the family, and I
Okay.
come into the house in your husband's absence, and he comes home, and you did not say I was here, and then
Okay.
later he finds out.
Yeah.
So the question is, why didn't you tell me? Now, it has two dimensions to that question.
Right.
Some people may think that why are you saying that? Why? Do you think there's something going on? That is not the point. The point here is that if there is friendship between you and your husband, you talk about
You
it.
should be able to say,
Exactly.
oh, Kojo came here this morning whilst you are
Thank
away. You know, okay.
So some, you see, the thing is, some people think that, oh, I didn't say this because I didn't think it was necessary.
It was necessary, yeah.
It's not about it being necessary. It is about opening the communication channel and being honest about things and
Yeah.
having to talk about just about anything and everything.
Right. Right.
So that is what you're going to use in building your friendship.
Yeah, I know you speak about friendship, which is a brilliant thing because I am a supporter of that. However, some people have probably lived for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years,
Yeah.
and they hadn't built that friendship. Now, this lockdown, I know you're saying that maybe they can use that as a channel to build that friendship. But then because that thing has never been there, it's difficult
It
for
is.
them to get in there. How do they then start it? You know, because one person will be so used to being independent
Yeah.
because that is how the relationship has been. So you're saying all of a sudden, I need to change how I am. I need to change how the relationship is. You know, how do they start?
Like I said, communication, starting by communicating. Just small talks here and there. Just make
Okay.
the effort. Small talk here. And also, I've noticed that some couples like to cover these things with sex.
Yes.
And I, when I say this, I know it's going to go against the men, because
Say it.
for us, when we
It's
want
everything.
it, whether friendship or no friendship, and then we don't get it. Why the women tend to say no?
Yes.
You understand? It
Yeah.
becomes they're like, we are married. You're my wife. Why is it every time I touch you, you don't want me to touch you? It's like because you haven't built the friendship,
Yeah.
and you are jumping from it to want to have a good sexual relationship. It won't happen.
It won't happen. Yeah. That
It will
won't
not happen.
Yeah.
You need to learn to crawl, walk, and then you run. So you crawl by communicating.
Okay.
The things that you think are not necessary, you'll be surprised. You will be something very small. You can give your woman something very, just as she's sitting there, she hasn't asked for juice, you bring her a glass of juice.
Yes.
You say, oh, thank you. And for you think that, oh, but this is nothing. But you don't even know the chord you might have struck. The same way, submitting to a man, showing that respect.
Yeah.
Just a little respect you show, the man will, oh.
Right.
And that could be because that could be it coming from a woman who has been rebellious all her marriage life, being on her high horse, behaving like
time.
she's the superwoman of the house.
Yeah, super.
But you are superwoman. But when you have a husband, you need to know where
Your limit.
your superwomanship ends. You need to know that you are a queen, yes, but there's a king in the house.
You're right.
And as soon as you begin to give that man that kinship, you will be surprised the love that will come. What
Right.
happened to Abigail in the Bible?
Let me just cut in, because what you were saying is like, if you do something, he will do something back.
I'm not saying
That
that.
is what you just said.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
But what I
that.
want to say is that when it comes to marriage, I
Yeah.
know that the love that we are supposed to give in that marriage has to be sacrificial.
Sacrificial.
It's not because I've done something. That is why you are doing something.
Okay,
in
let me
return. What I'm saying
correct
is
that, Selassie.
Okay, then
let me correct
give you the
that.
chance.
Give me the chance to correct that. I'm not saying that somebody should do something for somebody to before you. This is it. Now we are in this together. We need to both work at the relationship. We
Okay.
need to
Being
work
intentional about it.
Intentional about it.
Okay.
Now the Bible makes it very clear. Woman submit, man love. So it means that we both have different needs.
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah.
I have the need of my woman respecting and submitting to me. And you, the woman, have the need of me loving you. Right? So what we're doing is intentional.
Yeah.
As in, I would reach out to you. You should also reach out to me.
But-
We shouldn't wait for one to do something. It's not a conditional offer thing. That is not what I'm
okay.
preaching.
Yeah.
It's not
So
like
that-
do
yeah,
this
you've cleared
before
that
I
up.
do that. No,
Thank
I'm
you
just
for-
I'm just saying
for
that
clarifying.
so that we can move this ship, we can sail it smoothly together. Be intentional.
Yes.
Let me be intentional. Don't wait for me to do something or you're doing something based on what I've no. We are being intentional to work at the relationship.
Yeah.
So what even being intentional, one person is actually doing a bit more than the other
It
person.
will always be like that as well.
That is why it's sacrificial.
It will always
so
be
why
like that.
can't people understand that? Because again, I've had people coming to me and saying, you know, oh, I'm the one who always say that, let's do this and let's do that and let's do. You know, I had a couple I was talking to a while back, and you know, the guy was like, I'm the one who is always saying, let's go for a ride, let's go to the cinema, let's go this, let's go that.
So the woman doesn't
doesn't normally
Take the
initiate, or
initiative.
yes. So why is that? So he was getting angry and upset about it, and so it's like, I'm gonna stop doing
My
that.
question is, does the woman come along, or she says I would not?
No, she goes along.
No, I don't see
but
that his problem.
you know, he is thinking that
Once
every
in a
once in a
while
while
she
the
should-
woman should also
There
take
are-
initiative. But I said to him that people are different.
Exactly.
You need to know the person's personality,
Yeah.
their character, their temperament. You know, some people are not natural initiators.
Yes.
So if you are initiated, it's okay. So far as she comes along, so
Yeah.
far as she does what you
And
want.
she's happy. She's
Ye-
happy to
yeah.
come along.
You
And
know,
in addition to what I want to say is that if you initiate it, then you can give her the responsibility to fill in the details. I want us to go out. I want us to do this thing. Can you find out the details? Because as you said, some people will naturally not do it. But-
yes.
Yeah.
And for your relationship to work, thank God you have that initiative. You have that idea to do that. And then she's also responding. So what is the issue?
But
That is what I
For
didn't
me,
get.
we make issues out of things that are not.
But no, you don't understand. Listen, you don't always
It's
look
like,
at.
it's like initiating sex.
No,
When
no,
it comes to
yes.
initiating sex, some women
So
will
last-
never initiate sex.
Selassie, so
And
there
then
is.
when you initiate it,
Yeah.
they would enjoy it.
But
But what I'm
course.
saying
this
is
is
that
why a lot of men also complain because they
Yes.
are thinking, you know, I mean, why should I always be the one to initiate
initiate
it?
it. It's
You know,
good-
I
it's-
also want to feel loved.
Yes.
I want to feel wanted. So I
Exactly.
think my
there
woman
are,
should.
there are a lot of reasons why most women have arrived at that destination.
And one is.
cultural reasons.
See, this is. I don't
But what
want to go
I'm
into
saying is
this
that it
because
is not an excuse. But what
Yeah.
I'm saying is at least the relationship is working. So gradually, we will learn from each other. We rub off on each other. We will. You shouldn't be tired. If you are tired and you stop doing it, then that's a recipe for disaster.
But I also say that being intentional means that sometimes you need to get out of your comfort zone.
Yes.
Do things that you normally wouldn't do. Do things that is been on the table as the topic for discussion.
Right.
So, for instance, if your husband has been nagging about you never initiating an outing, what is wrong with you saying,
No,
"Oh,
Chris,
tomorrow"?
Chris,
Allow
bring
me.
it back to being in the lockdown and being in the four
Of
corners
course,
your house.
Yeah.
no.
So how do you become
It's all
spontaneous
part
in
of
the
it. So you could also say, "Can we go for a drive? This time I'll drive you. Just sit down and relax." You understand?
Yeah.
I'm sure to a husband who has been doing all the let's do this, let's
Yeah.
that, for a change, he would
He would be
enjoy
very
that.
happy, which is
You
good.
understand? Because
Yeah.
sometimes it also shows that you are thoughtful. You're thinking
Yeah.
about the other person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You
The
understand?
thing is, sometimes you might be thoughtful and you will be thinking about that other person. However, it's like maybe the time that the person is expecting you to say it, maybe you're not saying it.
Yeah.
Maybe you
Or sometimes some people think that, well, you like it this way, but I would rather I do this to show my thoughtfulness.
Yeah.
But guess what? The danger here is that then it means you are not speaking the person's love language.
which is what it is, and which is why lockdown has actually is exposing a
Thank
lot
you.
of cracks, like you
Yeah.
said. You know, exactly what we're saying. It is a test of endurance.
Yeah.
However, people are also learning. You know, they're starting to understand and know their partners,
Yeah.
and they're learning. You know, but yes, I mean, moving on. What are some of the positive stuff that lockdown has also brought to relationships?
I would say that it's getting the time for the family. We have a lot of time together. So people are very creative and they're using it for a lot of things. In terms of those who have children, doing things with their children, exploring a lot of things in the house, doing DIY, spending quality time, building friendship, talking. It's a whole lot. But other people too are just there. They are not doing anything.
Yeah.
And some people are just trying to maintain the peace. We're in the kitchen. I go to the bedroom. I'm in the bedroom. I come to the living room.
Yeah.
But
So long as there is peace, I'm happy.
there is peace. But what I'm saying is that you have to. People have tried to move their relationship into another level. So that's why I was talking about indoor picnics and things like that. There are things that people are doing, and it is helping. So the positive, I would say that there are positive, but the media will never talk about most of the positive things that are happening in this lockdown.
Yeah.
People are getting to know each other because you are there for 24 hours. I think now the lockdown is easing. So
Yeah.
that's- before then, you are there and you see the way your spouse, those who are working from home, how he gets so busy, how he gets so tensed and everything, he gets so agitated and angry. So when you call him and he said, I'm so busy, you are now understand that if my spouse say that I'm busy at work, I am very busy. So for me, if you are very observant in your relationship, you would have picked up things and you would have acted upon it. That will help your relationship, because we are there, and also people are having fun.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look on social media, there are pictures, family dancing together, singing challenge, dance challenge, cooking challenge. There is a whole lot, and we also educate each other.
Yes.
Educate each other. So people are, and the test of endurance, I would say, why don't you move from the phase of endurance to enjoying a relationship that God has given you?
Amazing. It's also been said that during this lockdown period, domestic violence has gone up by about 120%.
Yeah.
That is huge. Now, what are some of the signs of domestic violence? What should people look out for? Obviously, especially before it blows up for proportion and it becomes something like a big elephant in the room. What are the little signs that people need to start picking up and address them before it gets there?
I think for a start, a partner who is controlling.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of them.
Someone who shows predominance. Someone who wants to dominate.
Yeah.
So you'll be surprised, most of the time we think it's only the men that like this, but there are some men who are being abused. And unfortunately, because society doesn't really open up to receive men who have been abused, we don't get to hear much about it. Unlike women who have been abused.
Okay.
It's true. Now it is. And then also a lot of men don't come out to say because they want to show that macho in them and not want to say that, oh, my wife beat me up and all of that. So it's that tricky. There's that murky, tricky side of domestic abuse. But I would say that for a start, a partner who wants to predominate.
Yes.
So where you can't go here, you can't wear this, you can't eat that, you can't talk to this person, you should be up at this time, sleep at that time, treating you like their child.
Yeah.
That person has the tendency of being abusive, because then it's likely that when you disobey his orders, if I should put it that way, there's a likeliness that it would go into another.
But Chris, it comes out as love. He loves me so
No,
much.
that's obsession.
He wants me to wear this. He wants me to eat this. And
there is a way of doing it.
It comes as love. Like he's so loving. And
like Chris
he picked up my clothes for me.
So would you rather stay in a house where you're like a prisoner? So you're reading a book. What are you reading? No, stop that. Come and do this. I mean, would you want that?
But that is how they do it.
No, listen. If you are married, there should be some individuality.
Yes.
You should have that.
Your own identity.
Exactly.
You should have your own person.
Yeah. If you don't, and somebody is constantly dominating you, then the second group of people who have that tendency of engaging in domestic abuse is people who have quick tempers.
True.
So if you are with a spouse who is very quick tempered,
they get angry at everything and nothing.
Slam doors and they want to. You see, those who hit things to exert their anger, be very careful, be very, very wary of them.
I know.
Because when they are angry to that extent that they want to throw their entire
breaking
furniture,
doors and everything
and all
else.
That, one day they will carry you and throw you like a
well, when you are fearful, it's when you are fearful of your spouse, like you can't do anything. Let's say every decision that you take, you are fearful. What would he say? What would he do? That is also a sign. That's even like psychological, because you are not free to be who
you
God
want to
created
be.
you to be. Because, and I believe that most people are like that because they didn't have that, they didn't know who they were, and they think that marriage will give me that identity. So they are defined by their marriage. Their marriage
Right.
is their everything. But that individuality, if you know who you are, I am Selassie, I am this, I am loved, I am the daughter of the king, and you are really certain of that. Marriage comes as an addition, but if you make marriage you make marriage your God and everything,
Yeah.
and that is when any little change, it's like you wanted to cook rice, but there is no rice, so there is potato. So let me just make. Even that decision will just even you have to think about.
You're
it,
thinking,
the fear,
what is he
would
going to
happen.
say?
Yeah.
Maybe he
I
doesn't
think
like
that it's just a
potatoes.
normal decision that anybody can take.
Yeah.
This is what we have at home. I couldn't go to the shop. Let me cook this. There is food. But
Yeah.
that mental torture, and you have to present it to him in a certain way so that he doesn't get angry.
So how
The
do you
other-
how do
the
you
other
deal with
group of
that situation?
people-
Yeah.
The other group of people are the people who have an addiction. So alcohol, cocaine,
Oh
weed.
yes.
Sex.
Oh, the sex is alright. So alcohol, cocaine. I'm talking about people who have those kind of addiction. They're
Yeah.
addicted to alcohol. They have drinking problems. They're addicted to weed, heroin.
Obviously, it impairs their judgments as well. So
And if you are with a spouse who loses themselves when they take these things, then you need to be careful. Because they could do something to you and not even realize they've done it until everything has cleared up.
right.
So that is also something that could be very dangerous for couples or partners of people who
do
do these things.
So with all these things that we've mentioned about people, maybe being controlling, dominating or domineering, and so forth, what can their partners or their spouses do to make the marriage work or to diffuse it? Is it worth leaving the marriage? Is it worth making it work if the two of them do not agree or see eye to eye? What can they do to help improve that marriage?
Counseling is a first step.
But you know how a lot of people don't
But
like
please,
counseling.
before
Can
we
I-
go to counseling,
yeah.
in this lockdown that we are in, you are in the situation.
Oh, yeah,
that-
so you
hold
can't
on,
really go to...
hold on. Everything is now is online.
Oh, actually,
what I'm
yes.
saying
Virtual
is that-
counseling.
I know, but what I'm saying is that before your spouse agree, before you even have that conversation,
Yeah.
this is the problem, let's go to counseling. It's like a big,
Big
step.
step.
Yes, it
Yes.
is. And
So
I
you-
know a lot of men, I mean, in particular,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about counseling.
Counseling. They
I
don't
don't know
like
if
it.
it makes them feel intimidated or they feel like they're not men enough. But when you mention
Mention
counseling, men
we
just...
we just
yes,
run, we
and I
just-
don't get it.
And for me, what I would say is that before a woman began to take that steps, you need to work on yourself as an individual.
Okay,
Because you need to become strong. You need that strength
yes.
to be able to fix that relationship. So as I would say, so start working on yourself. You've identified the problem, 1. 2, I would want to take steps. So you take the steps to get counseling for yourself first. And when you have healed and you feel strong enough, that is when you bring your spouse along. Because if you don't do that, and in that fragile state, you tend to address the issue, you'll be worse off.
Yeah.
So look after yourself, mentally, everything. Look after
Emotionally.
yourself.
Yeah.
Emotionally. Make sure you are strong. Make sure you know what the issues are
Yeah.
and deal with yourself. So find yourself again.
Yeah.
Know who you are and accept that you are not the cause.
Right.
It is not because of you.
Yeah.
It's because it's not because I didn't cook you rice. That is why you can do that to me. No. You are not allowed to do that. He is wrong. I will heal. I still want my relationship. I'll take steps to work on it.
What about a
think-
spouse who doesn't want to go counseling?
So I think building on from what Selassie
Yeah.
just said, if you find yourself, you stay strong, then the next point will be for you to begin to talk about the problem.
Okay.
So even if you can write it down, make a note, write an email, send an email, do it, and say that listen, we've come so far in this relationship. When we first started, what you see, sometimes where some people also get it wrong is the fact that sometimes they go shouting,
Yeah.
they go talking about it in a very aggressive manner.
That's not good.
But if you calm yourself down first, and you've identified yourself, you've built yourself up, you feel strong enough, then you should find a good time to talk about it
Right.
and get the man to, or whoever, the other party, to give you a listening ear.
Right.
And once they have it, you need to be constructive. Don't go
You did that.
just say, listen, we've come so far in this relationship. I think we have a problem.
Yeah.
And make it a group thing rather than
Seeing
singling
you.
yourself.
Okay.
So then I think that we need help here. I have noticed that every time we do this, this happens. Every time we say this, that happens. So you first you can look at the good times you've had.
Yeah.
Come and talk about the bad times you are having now, and don't single it out. And also don't make anybody the victim or the victor, but make the problem rather the as
It's like both of us. It's the
but
couple.
both of us we are together,
dealing-
but this is the problem that is between us.
Yeah.
So how do we get this out of the way?
Wow.
Then you begin to make suggestions, and then you ask the other party to also come up with suggestions to solve that problem.
I think this is where a lot of people get it
The
wrong
the
because
communicating
the
it.
communication and
Yeah.
it is how
Yes.
you communicate the
The
issue.
how and the timing is very important.
timing is
because
actually a good
because
thing as
when the
well.
person is angry, lifting up the furniture and throwing it, that is not the time you come and say, "Let's go for counseling." The person will throw you, including the furniture. You understand?
Yeah.
That is not the time. So just look for the good time that you think that the person is sober enough. If it's a drinking
Problem.
drug problem issue, if it's an anger issue, just make sure you hit the iron when the person is not in any of those moods.
Now,
What I
talking.
want to add is
Okay,
that
go on.
you have that talk and you plan that you're going to do this. Set a time limit. Because the beauty of it is that you have had that talk and you leave it there. You don't take the next steps.
Oh, so you got to, yeah.
We're going to look for a counselor within the next 2 weeks. The counselor give you a date. Make sure you go for the section. So because what I realized is that most couple will have that talk and it looks as if everything is going well.
And that's
But
when
it's
some of the men
not.
even get their way, they get their sex.
They get
After the
it's
talk.
like a month,
Yes.
a month of like another honeymoon.
Yeah.
Make sure initially it looks okay, but make sure that okay, if so you have healed, you want it, so okay, then I'm going to look up and book some counseling sections. You book it, you give it to your spouse. These are the options available. You pick a date, you make sure you remind him, you make sure you go for it.
Yeah.
And when you go for it, come back and talk about it. Because if you don't set yourself those little targets, and also financially, it may be a drain on your finances. So can we have one session a month? Are we going to have 2 sessions every month?
Yeah.
You have to think, you the person who is healed, you have to take it upon yourself to do that, because your relationship is important to you. You are the person who is seeing to the future.
Yeah.
So when you make plans, make sure you follow it through.
Okay. Now, identifying, what the issue is and what the problem is one thing.
Okay.
However, what happens if that spouse does not agree to what you're saying? So, for instance, I go to my spouse and I say, in when he's calm and everything, but I say to him, "Oh, I think you have an anger problem." Because of the way you exhibit your anger and stuff like
You
that.
can't just say that. I think you have an
And that's why I'm laughing. This is why I'm saying that. This is why. This is why.
So this is why we are here. How would people communicate that
Yeah.
to the person?
So this is why I said that you don't go attacking the person.
Okay.
You go painting a problem, that we have a problem.
And so
The relationship.
what do you say?
Yes. So the relationship or the marriage we have now, there is a problem. So you don't go attacking the person. you rather go letting them know that we have a problem. It's a we thing. It's not just you.
Okay.
We have a problem because obviously, if I have anger issues, if you don't set me off, I'm not going to be showing my.
Exactly.
Allow me.
Well,
Allow me.
But then
If
is
nothing-
that not an excuse?
It's not an excuse. I'm not saying it's an excuse.
Yeah, I think it is an excuse because if you have a problem,
Yes.
you know, it doesn't matter how much
What
I
the
have an
person-
anger problem,
yeah.
or maybe I don't have an anger problem. If I have control of
Over
my
your
anger,
anger.
it doesn't matter how much Selassie decides to set me off.
Yeah.
And it's how I react.
So when you're talking about it, you speak about that situation. I don't know whether it is the way I said it, but before I realized, you started shouting, you started doing this.
You didn't even wait to hear me out.
So it may. I think I also did not. I didn't find my right words to communicate with you. So you divide it. It is a two-way. Maybe the way I came across, you were not happy with it, but that is why I think that our relationship has a problem. So, what do you think? I want us to work on it.
Right. Now, when you begin to talk that way, one, you get the person's listening ear.
Yeah.
You get the person also to reflect on what is happening. And if they give you that opportunity, whilst you are doing that brainstorming, so what do we do? How do we get
Yeah.
around this? Then you can tell the person, I think that I've noticed that every time you drink, we come to this point. Is there any way we can do something about your drinking too? Whilst I also look at how I speak about not to upset you in certain times, can we look at your drinking? Can we do something about it? So then the person could even say, like what? Let's seek counseling. Like you rightly said,
Yeah.
people who have anger issues might not agree that they have anger issues.
Definitely.
And and an alcoholic might tell you, I don't have a drinking problem.
You say I don't drink a lot.
I
only drink a little bit.
I only drink one bottle of whiskey a day.
Wow.
And meanwhile, they'll tell you they don't have a problem.
Yeah.
So you really need to get them to look at it from a whole different angle.
Communicating just a little bit, it involves a lot of things. It's not just talking, it's being observant, unspoken things. So when we're talking about communicating, so when it comes to this situation, you have to judge the situation. You have to be very observant. You have to notice things. You have to look at things around you so that it will help you to know what messages your spouse is bringing across. Because if we rely on only verbal communication, then we're not going to get far.
Yeah.
So the non-verbal, the actions, the body language and everything would also help. Because there are times that you don't need to say anything and just a hug, a cuddle, will speak volumes of words.
And finally, I want us to talk about intimacy, physical, sexual intimacy, especially during
Adra, straight from anger to sex.
because it calms the hormones down
yeah.
and it releases some things in your body that may calm the anger down. So obviously I've seen some videos of women complaining about too much sex. They're thinking,
Really?
yes.
I've seen that as well.
I've seen that video.
That
different
the
women,
husbands have nowhere to go and all
they do is sex, and they're complaining.
There are, mind you,
Sex is not only penetrative.
I know, but mind you,
This is more penetrative from the way they were
from the
talking.
time they were saying they couldn't even walk and
I need to look at those videos.
they become sore and all of that.
Yes.
You see, but the thing is that it shouldn't be too much as
Yeah.
well. There should be a balance. Come on, you cannot be doing this
Every
So
day
what
like
are
that.
you using
But
your
that
spouse?
comes that the spouse is not, the husband is not thoughtful. The husband is not thoughtful.
Or
Because if you love yourself,
or
if
perhaps-
you love your wife
or perhaps
as
the-
yourself, would you like to inflict injury on yourself?
no, he doesn't think
Maybe,
he's leading.
maybe
he's leading.
to them,
He's making love.
Because for me,
he's connecting.
as you're talking about it, I can just imagine some substandard sex, some rubbish sex.
That made me laugh.
No, because Ajua, if it's done properly, where you are so wet and you're enjoying it, and you will love it.
You see, the thing is, depending on your sexual discrepancies and drives and what have you, some people have low libidos, some people have high libidos and stuff like that. And obviously, because maybe they're sitting at home, and in the name of boosting their immune system, some people are drinking this Sobolo hibiscus flower with ginger and garlic. Obviously, for men, it's probably driving their hormones and their testosterone and stuff like that. So it's boosting all of that. And so they're now getting a bit into it and want to have it all the time. Women are, not a lot of women are like that, you know. So they need to understand.
Yeah. But also, most of these ones who are struggling possibly might have been doing dutiful sex for a very long time.
It's normal.
Yes.
You understand? No, dutiful sex on the part of the woman is inevitable if you are married.
Yes.
Once in a while, you will do the dutiful sex.
Yes, definitely.
Right? Because at that moment, you feel
you're not in the mood.
You're not in the mood, but your spouse is, the guy is so hot that you need to quench his fire. And at that moment, you just do that fire service work for him. Just give him that fire extinguisher.
Just to quench it.
A few minutes, hey.
You're done.
Brother man is quiet, he's calm, he's in his bed, lying down.
Yeah.
That's time. But marriages or relationships that have experienced cracks over a long period of time tend to have the tendency of having dutiful sex as the norm.
Yes.
So
it shouldn't be.
So, yeah. I'm doing it just to please him. And we've been doing that because in those days, before the pandemic, we don't do it all the time.
Yeah.
Mind you, you go to work, you come back, you're tired, and you come, you roll over, you're gone.
Yeah.
Right? Or the woman will trick you. Oh, I'm just going to shower and come. By the time they come back,
you're asleep.
you might sleep till the morning.
Yeah.
So she's cool. But now, brother is not going to work. He's at home with you.
Yeah, he's not tired.
So all these
he's
tricks,
just at home.
all these tricks. By the time you go and roll.
So women
By the time you
come up with more tricks.
exactly. By the time you come back, he's still awake, waiting.
He needs to exert
And like Adua
energy.
said, he's drunk his Sobolo. All of these
He's
things.
all fired up,
Waiting.
The garlic is working.
And this time, okay, you come and give the dutiful sex. You go the next day, you give another dutiful sex. Because it is dutiful, you are not enjoying it.
You're not enjoying it. Yes.
However, we have to turn this around.
And that is,
we have to turn it.
So that is one aspect of it. And it's happening because, like I always say, in the African community, we don't talk about sex. A lot of spouses, a lot of women are not talking to their husbands about sex.
Yes.
It's a two-way traffic, to be honest. I would not only blame the woman.
A lot of men, you know, when they see their women doing certain things, they're like, you know, my woman shouldn't be doing that. However, God forbid, but for those who go outside of your marriage, it's okay for the girlfriend to do certain things and behave in a certain way, you know. And yet, when the wife is behaving in that way, they're thinking, oh, no, that's my wife. She shouldn't do that. And so sometimes they are being, you know,
hypocritical
about it. Yes. And at the same time, you are quenching something in the wife.
Exactly.
That fire that the wife has that wanted to show you, you are quenching it. You know, but hey, I mean, these things is always going to happen, but then we'll be talking a lot more about sexual discrepancies, high libido, low libido in the very future, you know, discussions. But for your final words, what would you say to someone, you know, couples who are in lockdown at the moment, even though it's easing slowly, but it's not eased fully, so they're stuck with each other, looking at each other's faces like Poppy. You know, what would you say to them?
What I would say is that you're never going to get this time back. So take creative steps to enrich your relationship. The cracks are in your relationship. Don't just leave it. Hey girl, hey boy, come up with creative ideas. You know you love each other. The time for just sitting down and not doing anything is past. come up with ideas so that you'll be able to enjoy the best of your marriage.
Yeah. Amen. That is powerful preaching to marriage couples. Now, Chris, what is your final word?
Yeah, I would say that it's a good platform for you to build your friendship in your relationship. Begin to communicate. Begin to do the things that you think are not necessary.
Yeah.
The little things, the little communications that would begin to bring you two together. And it's not, it is you building your friendship, and that good part of your relationship will automatically move into the bedroom, and you're going to have a very good sexual relationship as well. On the flip side, I would say that people who are also enduring their relationships should also be careful they don't get into domestic violence and getting themselves hurt or killed
Yes.
at the most. And if you find out that your spouse is getting into, because you are in each other's face most of the time, there's that tendency that you could land yourself into quarrels and all of
Yes.
these things. So you just have to be careful as to what to do and what not to do to trigger these violence, domestic abuse, and all of this. Just make sure you're looking after yourself,
Wow.
because we don't want to hear that somebody killed somebody or
No.
you understand. So make sure that one, you're looking out for yourself, you're looking out for your partner, and if there are telltale signs saying that your relationship is going into a certain direction where it could end up in an unfortunate situation, then you should begin to look for help. You should definitely look for help. If you're being abused, if you think that you're being controlled, even if you cannot do it together in the beginning, find a way to seek an individual help or independent help for just yourself, and then based on that you can leap to find help for the relationship in the long run.
Yes.
Your mental well-being.
That is absolutely important.
As a woman, as a man, even our children's mental well-being, we should look after each other. We should look after it.
Thank you, Grace. Thank you so much, Selassie. And thank you for every one of you that have tuned in to listen. I hope that, this educative and yet entertaining conversation has been a blessing to you and you have learned something out of it. The impact of lockdown on relationships. I hope that you have picked something out of this conversation. For now, we're going to love and leave you. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Also like, comment, and share this page. I think this is a good conversation that people need to listen to and hear about it. Some of the points that Chris and Selassie raised are points that not just for lockdown, but also for the future of your relationship. So hit the subscribe button, like, and share, most importantly. Thank you. My name is Ajua.
Heart to heart, soul to soul, let's speak